Alternative history, a different approach with far-reaching implications. Devastated. An infestation of flies. One infestation leads to another, described as the 10 plagues. This was a period of mass extinctions. The aftermath was short-lived. This movement of the Earth is two different cycles combined. It is the axis rotation plus the wobble. What is observed is the bigger movement. By removing rotation B, the axis rotation is isolated, and the rotational poles are no longer moving in a circular path. There was a third cycle, but absolutely nothing is known about this cycle in the modern world. This cycle caused the rotational axis of the Earth to change. This cycle is rotation C. With three different cycles rotating simultaneously, only one of these movements will result in a day-night cycle on Earth, simply because it is 90 degrees to the direction of sunlight. This cycle is rotation C. The Earth was literally tumbling around in space. Because of these complex movements, when a single light source, the sun, cast a shadow, the sunrise in the south and again in the north, Egypt was called the place of sunrise and sunset. The knowledge that the sun once rose in the south is known to the educational establishment, but this knowledge is denied and also suppressed. The worst offenders are the Egyptologists. Towards the end of this, the Sixth World Age, the moon was gradually pulled in by Earth's gravity. This world age came to an end because of the Great Flood. The cause and effect of the moon orbiting too close to Earth. A very accurate description of this, the third flood, is recorded in the Bible. Evidence that there are secret libraries, the content of which are not in general circulation. Three different cycles of Earth, moving in a friction-free environment. This is about to change. The change will be because of friction, caused by tidal drag from the moon. This tidal effect is moving in one direction. The cycle, moving in sympathy and without conflict, is the only cycle that will remain. The other cycles will go extinct. We will then arrive at the present observations, the Seventh World Age. The moon is intentionally this close. At approximately 17,000 miles, rotation C is in sync with each moon orbit. Rotation A, the equatorial movement, is in conflict with a very strong tidal effect at this close distance. The equatorial movement and the tidal effect must unite. This is the path of least resistance. The sine wave orbital path, the twin planet movement, is now added. The Moon's orbital path is not a perfect circle. The distance between the Earth and Moon varies. At its greatest distance, the orbit speed of the Moon slows down and increases again when closer to Earth. The orbit period of the Moon was only 1 day instead of 1 month at that distance. The Moon remained close to Earth for 10 months. During this time, rotation C and the movement of the equator unite. This speeded up the Earth's rotation. The other cycle, the wobble, began to slow down because its motion was cutting across the tidal direction. The Moon came even closer to Earth. Rotation C increased and overpowered the movement of the equator. Rotation C, the movement of the equator, and the direction of the strong tide merged. Rotation C appears to have vanished without a trace. Rotation B, the wobble, was 4 times faster than the axis rotation. The very strong tidal drag caused rotation B to be terminal. The speed of rotation B was all but gone even before the Moon began to recede again. There is a scientific consensus the Moon once orbited closer to Earth. This is a twin planet system with 3 sources of gravity. When the Moon is moving towards the Sun, it travels the greater distance because of the Sun's gravity. The Moon slowed down and from that greater distance have more time to accelerate past Earth at its closest distance. The closer the Moon is to Earth, the faster it travels. At this point, the Moon is at its greatest distance from the Sun. The combined gravity of Earth and the Sun accelerates the Moon to a greater distance from Earth. These cycles of acceleration is causing the Moon to move away from Earth. The Great Flood is the 4th period of mass extinctions in the fossil record. This is now the 7th World Age. The history and formation of the world is now complete. This is also the 4th age of mankind. We have not yet arrived at the present time. There is a scientific consensus of a 5th period of mass extinctions in the fossil record. Before we arrive in the present, we need 3 different items of history. Remove the wobble, rotation B. It reveals the tilt in the Earth's rotational axis. The tilt is what remains of the wobble. The natural name for this tilt is the stalled wobble tilt. The next requirement is the desiccation and pulverization of North Africa, the Sahara Desert, the largest desert on Earth, incredibly, an area the size of the United States of America. But this is only one desert. This type of damaged topography geography is observed in other geographical locations. The end of the fourth age of mankind happened at this time. It was an event so dreadful it is classed as a period of mass extinctions by modern science. Previously, the other catastrophic events, the end of a world age, were also the end of an age of mankind. But this was not the end of a world age, just the ending of an age of man. This catastrophic event happened when the conditions that created the melanin gradient in the northern hemisphere were in place. Before the wobble stalled, it caused an area of winter darkness in northern latitudes to migrate to the west over a period of 2,000 years. The speed of the wobble closely matched the orbit period of Earth. The most desirable location on Earth was the latitude of the Sahara Desert across the globe. Rotation B rotating at the same speed as the Earth's orbit period. The result is a southern hemisphere summer lasting 2,000 years, and for the same period, winter darkness in the north. One byproduct of this catastrophic event was a scorched Earth. The other was global albinism and species variations. The edge of the winter darkness was a kind of refuge. The other refuge was to go underground. We are now 6,000 years before the present. At this time, civilization was destroyed. The educational establishment's first deception was that this 6,000 years was the time of creation. This is now revised to be the start date of civilization. One deception replaced another. We are now living in the fifth age of man, the first age of degenerated man.